Hi, welcome to our summertime yin yoga practice. So, despite it not looking much like summer here, we are in the month of June, so we're approaching the summer solstice, that kind of peak in the year when the sun is at its brightest. We have the longest days, we have all of that light, vibrancy in all these hours of sunshine. You might feel your own energies a little bit kind of higher than it normally is at other times throughout the year. And we have hopefully some warm weather, some sunshine, some heat. And even as I'm talking about it, even though it's not my reality now, you feel that kind of brightness, that warmth, that joyful feeling that the summertime brings with it. And you see all of nature kind of at full bloom, at its peak, everything lovely and vibrant and colourful. So that really high energy of the summertime, that fiery and bright energy. And it's lovely to get swept up in that and to just kind of embrace all of that summer swelter and maybe be a bit more social than you are throughout the year. For me, definitely, I've got so much more energy in the summer, and it's not that feeling of just wanting to kind of retreat and hibernate that you might have in the winter. It's really more expansive, more open. And it's a time of the year when we really can just kind of go with that flow, enjoy, maybe be a bit more laid back, kind of an easy time. So, well, as much as we can really enjoy all of that kind of summer vibrancy and brightness and that full bloom sensation in nature and also in ourselves, this kind of peak time of the year, this peak yang energy, sometimes can get overwhelming. Do you ever have that feeling that your social kind of battery is like, whew, it's burnt out? Maybe you're taking on too much or you're doing too much with your days because there's so much light in them. So we can balance any of that kind of overheating or kind of burning out or burning too bright. We can balance it out with a lovely calming and cooling yin yoga practice. So our yin practice in and of itself is a cooling, calming, soothing practice. We move less so that yang movement, kind of vibrant energy is settled with the stillness and calmness of yin. And also that introspective energy. So in our practice today, we'll work with some forward bending, which kind of naturally turn our awareness inwards, settle our energies from that kind of open, expansive to more of that calm and settled. So all about finding a balance to your summer swelter, to all of that summer heat, coming back to some calm, to some settling. So it can be a nice practice to do in the evening before bedtime if you're kind of het up after a lovely hot summer's day, or it can be a nice practice to kind of set a nice cool and calm tone for the rest of your day in the morning. So maybe just bringing a little bit of coolness, a little bit of a more kind of watery, earthy energy to that fiery heat of the summer so that we don't burn out. So we'll begin with a cooling pranayama practice. So you can take a comfortable seat. It doesn't have to be cross-legged. I should say you might also want some blocks for today's practice. You might not need them, but it can be handy, or a cushion or something that might just bring the floor a little bit closer for you. And we'll begin finding a comfortable seat. Maybe letting eyes just gently close, that feeling of just centering and of arriving here onto this space of your mat. Maybe a little smile onto your face as you just gently congratulate yourself for being here, taking this time to create some harmony, some balance. And as you sit, you can just feel your sits bones ground. You can feel yourself settle into maybe an earthy energy, kind of a rooting and a grounding. And then as you inhale, just feel your spine draw tall past that fiery center, your sacral chakra, all the way up to the crown of your head. And then maybe just take a sigh out with your breath. Let yourself settle and just be here for a moment as we begin our practice. So take as much time as you need to ground. And when you're ready, you can blink your eyes open, and we're going to take a pranayama practice called sitali pranayama, which is a cooling breath. So We do this just taking a seat. And how it works is we cool the breath on the inhale so that that coolness kind of travels through the whole of the body. So you can do this in a couple of different ways. If you have the capability, you stick out your tongue and roll the edges of your tongue so you make like a little kind of tube with your tongue. And then you breathe in along your tongue. Some people can't roll their tongues. So if that's the case, you can just let your teeth sit together, let your lips kind of soften, and then breathe in kind of between the space of your teeth. And you'll notice as you do that, that cools the breath as well. If neither of them are comfortable, if you have like a metal straw or bamboo straw or something, not a plastic straw, you can use that. It's that same effect. It cools the breath on its way in. So what we do is we take that in breath either through the teeth or through the tongue. So let your in breath just come in, travel down the throat, and then close your mouth and let your out breath just gently sigh out through your nostrils. So just continue for a couple of rounds. So cooling that breath on the inhale and feeling that sensation of coolness on the tongue, in the soft palate, down into the throat. A cooling breath that enters the lungs. And then that exhale out through the nose, just a gentle softening, a calming, soothing out breath. Maybe you feel that coolness from the inhale travel further through the body. So as though that energy of coolness can travel down the spine. And then soften in your exhale. Just continuing, feeling that coolness entering the center of your body. And then a settling, a calming exhale. That coolness traveling through the body along energetic pathways in the body through the meridian system. So feeling the energetic quality of coolness, of calmness. Maybe your inner arms down to your hands, down around your pelvis, your inner thighs, inner knees down to inner ankles. Maybe at back of legs, back of pelvis, and a coolness that's kind of embodied right in your center. So just take another round here. Close your mouth when you're ready. Let that out breath just expel any excess heat in the body that might remain. And notice that lovely, cool, calm feeling within. So we'll begin our practice in a child's pose. So a wide knee child's pose. So your knees will come about max distance, toes together, hips drop down onto heels. You can walk your hands out and then let your torso rest down, let your forehead rest down onto the mat. And just take time if you notice you need to adjust anything, if you need a block for your head. Maybe you need some support in between your hips and your heels, or you just need to lift your head a little bit higher to be able to sink back. And then in our yin practice, so we hold the poses for a little bit longer. So take the time when you begin to get comfortable so that you find yourself in a position that it feels as though you could stay and maybe sink in. So in that practice, it's a releasing of the effort of the muscles and just allowing the body to sink into a certain shape. So the musculature of the body relaxes and the skeleton just kind of finds its way into your chosen position. And then we take some time in that pose to settle in, to maybe have a feeling of almost melting into that pose. So feeling your solar plexus, the center of your chest, the seat of the fire element in the body. Feel it being drawn down to the coolness of the earth beneath you. And imagine that coolness radiating through the body along those kind of energetic pathways of the body, stimulating meridians on inner thighs, bringing a coolness into the joints of the legs, a coolness in the lower back that can travel along the spine, across your shoulders, down the inside edges of your arms, and just finding that position there. So we have about a minute more in our child's pose. We'll be holding our poses for between kind of 2 and 3 minutes in today's yin practice. So enough time to settle and maybe notice that cool and calm quality also enter the mind. Perhaps here just taking 3 more rounds of breath, and feel free to take sitali breath at any time as well if you want to bring some extra coolness. And as we prepare to make our way out, you'll gently just reactivate the muscles of your arms, of your fingers, and then slowly come up onto the knees. And you can bring your knees underneath your hips now. So just let your hands come to a comfortable position underneath your shoulders. Maybe you just want to take a couple of rounds of cat-cow. Allow a feeling of flow along your spine, almost like a watery quality to your movement. And then the next pose we'll take is melting heart pose. So the clue is in the name there. That melty energy of the summer, like a surrendering and allowing. So we walk hands forwards and the hips stay above the knees. And then torso, maybe forehead drops down to the mat. So it might not feel comfortable to come all the way down here. If that's the case, that's where you can grab a block. Perhaps let your forehead rest onto a block. Or if you have kind of loads of space around the shoulders, you can also have 2 blocks. And let your torso drop in between that space, so lifting the arms up. So that'll create more of a feeling of your shoulder blades reaching together behind your back. And a deeper opening for the front of your body, and a deeper feeling of that sacral chakra, heart chakra area of the body being drawn down towards the earth. So notice if you're kind of gripping your hands, you can soften your hands and maybe even roll your hands to the outside edges, so little finger edges. Maybe just take a quick scan through your body. And is there just one body part that you can relax? Maybe your jaw or your brow. And notice how, as you consciously release and soften that part of your body, maybe other parts of the body follow suit. And you find your glutes relax, your shoulders relax, your lower back soften. So feeling that cool quality of stillness. Maybe imagining a still body of water. And that coolness and clarity and calm that it embodies. Balancing out any excess fire. And perhaps as you hold the pose, your body kind of opens up. You feel your body maybe dropping deeper. So if you do need to adjust, you can always come out of that stillness and make an adjustment so that you find that kind of edge of the pose, you find that boundary of the body, and respectfully breathe to that boundary. So that you continue to feel that stimulation, that flow along those energetic tributaries of the body. Maybe take a couple more breaths here, and if you want to deepen, now's your time to do so. So if you want to lift your hands onto blocks, or remove perhaps the block that's underneath your head. And then when you're ready to, gently reactivating arms, walking your hands back towards you. You can just take a seat onto the heels, maybe take a roll out through your shoulders and notice that lovely open sensation across the front of your torso, so that your collarbones in between your ribs. You can take a lovely deep breath there. And then open mouth, expelling any of that excess heat. So we'll come to sit now. And we'll come into a wide-legged seat. So opening the legs out, and maybe straight away there you feel that kind of opening up, that lengthening on the inner thighs. And you'll bring sole of one foot in towards inner thigh here. Check that that knee is comfortable. If you need to, it can always be propped up with your block or your cushion. And we'll come into a side bend here. So we're going to open up this whole side of the body. So you'll begin with the hand maybe onto the shin or on the outside. The opposite arm will reach up and reach over. And so we'll be here for, again, a few minutes. So you might notice that you need some support for this arm. If you do, that block can come underneath. You can rest your elbow onto your block. If this top arm is comfortable, just kind of hanging in space, that's great. Or you can bring it to behind the head and let the head be supported. And let the hip of the bent knee just kind of anchor down. And if you're flexing back through your extended leg, just let your heel drop. Feel your heel just drop down into that connection with the earth. Cooling and settling and grounding earth energy. So feeling that side of the body long and imagining a coolness that can travel down that side of the body. Perhaps you feel sensation on the inside edge and the back of your extended leg. Imagining those little kind of streams and rivers within. Bringing with them that lovely cool and calming watery energy. Maybe you can sink in, perhaps you feel your body gently opening. You can maybe drop deeper if that's appropriate for this last minute. Your eyes can be closed at any time, and Your breath's just an easy flow, or you can take those cooling sitali pranayama breaths. Letting your head relax, so not feeling the need to kind of support the head. Perhaps just 3 more breaths here. And then as you begin to make your way out using the lower hand to kind of push your way up, release that top hand. Maybe you feel that kind of washing through down that side of your body. So we'll come into a pigeon pose, or sleeping swan as it's called in yin. So the bent knee can just pivot towards the front of your mat. You might want your blocks and your cushions here. As you come to extend that leg back and turn your pelvis towards the mat. So pigeon, if it's not appropriate for your knee, if it causes pain, your option is your figure 4 stretch, which can be done on a seat, or it can be nice as well, lying down and just finding that same sensation on the outer hip, either lying down or seated. It doesn't have to be forward bending. So find your way, find to where you're comfortable. Maybe just open up your chest, opening up sacral chakra, manipura chakra. And then when you're ready to, you can drop your way down. If you need some support either underneath that front hip or the other hip, you can use blocks or cushions. Find a comfortable position with your arms, and then let yourself rest down and let your forehead be supported wherever you get to. So again, we'll be here for about 3 minutes. So you want to find yourself into that position where you feel kind of the stimulus of the pose, and you feel that sensation on the outer hip. Imagining energy, blood flow, circulating around that area, offering a cooling and a calming and almost a liquid sensation to the joints. So finding that edge, but not to the point where it's causing you tension or strain or stress. So no gripping of the teeth, no crunching up of the forehead. Maybe softening your shoulders, softening your back leg. Softening your hands. So concentrating on one side of the body now. And then we'll repeat the same sequence over onto the other side to just balance out. Letting your breath be a flow. Imagining the breath almost like a rising and falling tide or body of water. Bringing with it a coolness, a calmness. Perhaps 3 more breaths. Your time to maybe go deeper if you like. And then to come out, just bringing your hands back, opening back up. Ooh, feeling that wash down the outer edge of your hip. And we'll come up just come to all fours for a moment. You might feel like a tingle down that side. And then you'll step the same leg up to the front of your mat. And again, this is where you might want your blocks to rest your hands onto. Or if it's okay for your hands to come down onto the mat, they can do so. Coming into our low lunge or dragon, as it's called in yin yoga. So stimulating now the inner edge of the hip, the inner thigh. Letting your pelvis be drawn towards the mat. So rather than being kind of upright in that position, hips drops down as much as is comfortable, and if it's too much, the blocks can be there for some extra support. So beginning to bring sensation into the opposite leg as well, maybe the front of that thigh. Finding that cool, calm flow of your breath and the energy that your breath brings through your body. You can let your head rest. Not feeling the need to kind of keep the neck in the same line as the spine here. Almost feeling as though the pelvis is drawn towards that coolness of the earth. And then your breath, that watery quality of breath. So about 1 more minute. Your option, if it's feeling like you're kind of losing the sensation and you want to go deeper, is to come down onto your forearms, if that's appropriate. If it's not, you'll stay up onto your blocks or onto your hands. Feel free to sigh at any time as well. Perhaps those 3 final breaths in your dragon pose here. And then slowly just beginning to transition out. So onto your hands. You can lift your hips up. Bring that leg back. And then we'll just come into a sphinx pose for a moment. So elbows down, dropping pelvis. And it might feel nice to just stretch out that front seam of your body now. And you might feel that different sensation on the side that we've worked on compared with the other. So just a few moments in your sphinx, maybe feeling again that extension along your spine, but maintaining a softness in your shoulders, in your face, in your jaw, in your hands. So just a few moments in that back bend. So these back bends can be more of that fiery and kind of energizing quality. So we won't stay for too long. We want to focus more on the kind of calming and cooling. Just another breath. And to make your way up, come onto your hands. We'll come back into a seat. So we'll do same sequence onto the other side. So I'll end up facing towards this end of my mat. So adjust if you need to. So my opposite leg will come into my thigh. Again, if you need any support underneath that knee, feel free to grab some. And then we come over into that side bend, maybe using your block or maybe resting down onto the mat, making sure that you soften the extended leg, soften the toes. You can turn the gaze up just to gently open the chest, but let it be relaxing to the body rather than energizing. So again, hand can come around the head. You can let the head just rest into that support of the hand. So stimulating the other side of the body now and inviting that flow of cool, calm, lunar energy into this side of the body. Creating a balance into both sides. So just connect to that lovely watery flow of your breath. Easy flow. Soft, smooth flow. So if you want to go deeper, if you feel your body's kind of responded and opened, you can drop in deeper. Or if you're perfect as you are, staying as you are. Maybe connecting to that earthy feeling in your pelvis and in your lower back, the location of your root chakra. And grounding there. Just taking those few final breaths again. Feeling maybe that desire to stay longer. And when you're ready to, just pressing into the lower arm, stretching top arm up, and feeling that wash down, almost like a waterfall of sensation down that side of the body. So we'll turn into our pigeon or our sweet sleeping swan towards the other side, so that leg will just come forward. Back leg lengthens out to where's comfortable. Taking time to make whatever adjustments you need, blocks, cushions to support hips, or figure four if it doesn't work for you on this side. And then making your way down and softening into your pigeon or your sleeping swan pose on this side. And when you get there, just noticing if there is any of that gripping. You feel yourself kind of firing up anywhere, any of the muscles of your body. Can you invite that coolness with your breath and with your energy to just kind of calm that fire? So make sure forehead supported either onto mat or onto a block. Hands are relaxed, shoulders are soft, and that feeling of your chest drawn towards the earth, allowing your breath to flow like a lovely meandering stream through the body. Bringing with it those qualities of cool, of calm, of clarity. Cool and calm in physical body, energetic body, and maybe a cool and a calm sensation in quality of mind. And maybe you notice a difference on this side after having already done these poses on one side of your body. almost like you know what to expect and it feels easier to drop in. That desire to fidget is less. And maybe when I tell you that we have maybe 4 or 5 more breaths, you think, oh no, I want to stay. That's the beauty of the yin practice. It's so challenging to stay still at first, and then suddenly you do want to do nothing but stay still. So enjoy your final breath in, and a lovely breath out. And then slowly making your way up. Ooh. You can just come onto all fours for a moment and then stepping that same leg outside of your hands for your low lunge or your dragon, taking the time to modify if you need to with your blocks. And then having that feeling of kind of releasing tension around the muscles of the legs so that your pelvis is drawn down. Your shoulders are soft, and even though it might go against everything you've ever done in yoga, you can let your shoulders creep up to your ears. Let your head relax, let it hang down if that's more comfortable. If you prefer to keep your head slightly active, you can do so. But taking the time to soften in. So it's different from a restorative and restful practice where we kind of have almost no sensation or just totally soft and easy sensation. There's still sensation in the body. So around the hips, you probably feel the front of that thigh, inner edge of the other thigh. So it's still stimulating to the body, but more to the energetic quality of the body. Physically, muscles can relax. And when muscles soften and relax, it's as though energy, coolness, calmness, softening goes beyond musculature and travels maybe to connective tissues, to bones, ligaments, tendons, fascia, nourishing your body with these lovely watery qualities, bringing more lubrication, more softness. So for these last 30 seconds, you have the option to maybe drop in deeper if that's appropriate. Come into your forearms or forearms down to a block. Not feeling the need to force any particular shape. Rather being with the sensations you find yourself in. Allowing, yielding, energetic quality of being. Taking one final breath. And then slowly making your way back. Cool. Lifting the hips. Just releasing the knees. Maybe come back to a little cat-cow and feel how your body maybe feels more in balance. You can just take another moment in that sphinx and lengthening out along the spine just for a few moments. That feeling of kind of growing long, maybe opening up through the heart space now, countering all of that forward bending, but without too much effort. Keeping it easy and soft, cooling, calming. Allowing your breath to kind of flow its way along your spine here. And just take another moment. And when you're ready, just bring your hands back down. Pressing your way up, we'll come to sit, and we'll take a final dragonfly pose, or a wide-legged seated forward bend before our shavasana. So kind of take time to find that straddle shape with your legs. If you need to sit up onto some sort of support to just stay more comfortable through the hips, feel free to. Maybe you can just flex your toes back for a moment so you kind of get that full extension of your legs. And then let your legs and your ankles and your feet just relax and soften. So there's that soft feeling that almost feels as though you're rooting down more through your heels, and maybe as though you're kind of lengthening even more through the inner and the back of your legs. Just take a nice straight spine to begin. And then when you're ready, we'll take that cooling forward bend. So you can come onto forearms, you can come onto a block or a cushion, or just onto the hands. Take a lovely deep breath when you get there. And as you exhale, just notice if you're kind of holding your feet in any particular position. Can you let them just rest, maybe turning inward or outward, whichever way your skeleton sits. And allow that feeling of just sinking into support of earth through heels. Just a natural lengthening of your legs. Almost as though there's a flow around the joints of your hips. Feeling the bowl of the pelvis. A watery sensation along the spine, letting your head just find a comfortable position. So chin can tuck in, you can round the neck, round the shoulders if you like. Just enjoying a few moments in a wide-legged forward bend, or dragonfly pose in yin yoga. Focusing on that lovely fluid, calming flow of breath. The coolness on the inhale, and a releasing of excess heat, excess energy on the exhale. These forward bends, lovely and kind of introspective. That feeling of physically turning inward, and maybe also just allowing state of mind, focus, just to settle in rather than constantly taking in feedback from the outside, maybe tuning into your internal feedback. Totally in tune with your body. So becoming familiar with those sensations along your legs, maybe feel your body just kind of dropping in a little bit more with each flow of breath. And just take a couple more rounds. At any time as well, you can always press pause and just stay for as long as you choose to in any of these poses, if it feels nice to be here. When you're ready to, you can gently just draw a deeper breath in. Make your way up. Feel as you return your spine to straight, it almost feels like it's kind of reinvigorated, like there's more length there. I just want to take some movements through your spine, to your shoulders. You can take some little windscreen wipers with your knees if it feels nice to do so. Maybe just rolling from one side to the other before we settle down into our shavasana. So take your time, set up whatever you need to. If you have blankets, cushions, things like that, feel free to grab them to become as comfortable as you possibly can be for your shavasana. And when you get there, maybe take a deep breath in and open your mouth. And as you exhale, feeling of releasing any heat that's built up in the body. And with that heat, releasing any holding on and allowing yourself to sink down into that cooling embrace of the earth. So softening into supportedness, letting your breath just once again find its easy, cooling, calming flow, imagining that breath washing its way through your body along those little streams, rivers of your meridian system, bringing a cooling quality to body, cooling quality to mind, like a calmness and a clarity, physically, mentally, emotionally. Maybe feeling coolness at the palms of your hands that travels up the inner edges of your arms and across your shoulders. And then down, just finding a balance in the upper half of the torso between the fire and the heat and the high energy of the summertime, that yang energy, and then that cooling, calming, settling yin energy, feeling yourself totally in harmony, totally in balance. And feeling free to stay for as long as you like in your shavasana. Perhaps you feel ready to begin to come back, maybe finding that cool flow of your breath flowing down to your fingertips, your toe tips, and making little watery movements with the extremities of your body. And feeling those tiny watery movements become stronger, maybe into a little flow around with your wrists, with your ankles, and maybe like a rush of watery sensation as you stretch out your arms and your legs. You can stretch overhead, feel yourself coming back. Take time, maybe roll to one side, slowly returning your way to a seat. A moment just to acknowledge any shifts in energies or in emotions or in qualities of the body after your practice. Maybe bringing hands together, Anjali Mudra, mudra of gratitude, of reverence for your practice, for your body, for yourself. When you're ready, hands can release, eyes can blink open. I wish you a wonderful summertime and a happy summer solstice whenever you choose to practice this. And hopefully I'll see you on a screen or in person soon. Bye.